Before Cilgerran Castle was built, and that was nearly 1,000 years ago, South Wales was wilder country. The years have changed much, but the visitor today can still find here one unchanged custom of those distant times, the fast disappearing coracle, a wicker boat covered with hide and portable on the back. Britons who fled from the invading Romans used these boats, and in them too Celts who hid from advancing Saxons nimbly navigated the rivers of their Welsh fastnesses. Today the Tithe is one of the last rivers where the coracle may still be seen. Here, where the grandeur and beauty of nature is unsurpassed in the whole of Wales, men now use the coracle to fish the broad reaches where salmon lurk. Homemade boats they are, lightweight craft which float if need be in a mere 3 inches of water. Reliable too, in spite of their flimsiness, and easy to navigate. 4 years after seeing them in Britain in 49 BC, Julius Caesar showed his respect for coracles by ordering his soldiers to make them during a war in Spain. The most picturesque river in South Wales, the River Tithe, famous alike for the wild beauty of its foaming rapids and for the good salmon fishing to be had in it by coracle. The making of a coracle is much the same as in the days of the early Britons, a skillful, time-honored process handed down from generation to generation. Briefly, it consists of interlacing struts of soaked, supple willow into a basket-type framework and covering the whole of the underside with hide, flannel or calico coated with pitch and tar. Apart from the use of waterproof cloth instead of a bullock's hide, the only real difference in the process today is that the laths are sawn and planed instead of being knife-trimmed willow branches. Styles varied from locality to locality in the days when the coracles were used extensively, but the Tithe coracle has always been short and squat, about 4 feet 6 inches long and 27 pounds in weight. Altogether, 19 willow laths are used, plaited with 40 hazel canes to give a depth of 13 inches. Finished, the coracle is ready to face even the wild rapids of the local rivers. Early in February on the River Tithe, the coracles appear, when the salmon season has barely started. And throughout the months that follow, men will be seen in them up and down stream in their favorite reaches, playing the fish with native skill. For the visitor who comes this way, the Tithe promises a cheap and rare experience in the sport of fishing from a coracle. The hire of these locally made wicker boats is inexpensive, and one of the tastiest suppers man can cook is to be had as cheaply here as anywhere in Britain. Good red salmon. Customs like the use of the coracle may be dying out, but while there are still men who love a flutter and others who know and love the horses of the hunt, the custom of point-to-point will always flourish. This is a typically British idea, steeplechasing over rough terrain on horses that have actually been ridden to hounds during the season. Point-to-point meetings like this one at Pettershall, Northamptonshire, are organised by the famous hunts of England and provide one of the most exciting and colourful sights of the countryside. To watch is free, one of the courtesies of tradition, jealously guarded by countrymen who value their sports and entertainments above the price of an entrance ticket. Interest in this very special form of racing has grown enormously since the war, And where once the meetings were purely local affairs for the country folk and the farmers, now they're followed enthusiastically by town and city folk too. Once, the crowds at such meetings would number in hundreds. Today, they can often be counted in thousands. This new interest is not confined to the public either, for the actual number of entries for the races has grown as well. Among the reasons for the new attraction of point-to-point for visitors are the quality of the racing and the beauty of the modern course. Once the course consisted of almost any stretch of country, starting in one parish and ending in another after a go-as-you-please ride that insisted only that no gates were to be opened. Now it's a miniature racecourse in many cases, or at the least a natural course adapted to provide good racing and a clear view for the spectators. Hunters, these horses are called, and many of them are thoroughbreds. And as such, they have to be specially trained to jump at the gallop, for a hunter normally clears the obstacles in a hunting field from a walk, trot, or canter. The men who ride the hunters, too, have to learn the art of point-to-point. If it was true in the old days that a good man to hounds was automatically good at point-to-point, it's not so today. Both horse and rider still go hunting through the season, as they must to comply with the regulations. But now they both have to acquire the special skill of the steeplechase. A great and thrilling sport to the visitor, steeped in the tradition of the countryside, point-to-point. From the wild beauty of the Welsh rivers and the excitement of the point-to-point, to the peace and domesticated loveliness of Richmond, Surrey. Time has marked this truly rural scene but little, and it comes hard to believe that the centre of London is only half an hour away. Anciently called Scenes and later Sheen, the borough's name was changed to Richmond in 1500 by command of King Henry VII. 8 years after holding a great tournament in the grounds of what was then his royal manor house. Today, Richmond is famous alike for its huge park on the right bank of the Thames and for its 2,000-acre Deerpark, laid out by Charles I, and free for all to see. Busy Londoners come here to savor the peaceful delights of nature. Delights which do not fail to capture the imagination of many artists who make a favorite haunt of the riverside. Electric trains bring them from the hustle and bustle of the city and drop them in a matter of minutes in this beautiful and tranquil setting. The Deerpark itself is a reserve where one of the country's largest herds roams in complete freedom, protected by the unceasing attentions of a skilled staff of gamekeepers. This is stag country, the woodland home of Britain's fastest and strangest animal. Used only for attack, their defense being a speedy escape, the antlers of the stags are a freakish feature of branch-like structure which drop off like dead twigs every year, about April. A new set immediately begins to grow, sometimes to a height of 4 feet. Strong, bony weapons with which the stags fight each other for possession of the hinds. Mostly red deer, descendants of the famous royal stags which roamed the Scottish peat bogs, 600 and more of them now live in the park, half wild and free. In summer they live off the lush grass, but when winter comes they have to be fed with locust beans, turnips and hay, which are taken out to them by the keepers. Timid but never tamed, they're an odd, graceful feature of a lovely countryside so near to the capital. Now, as Shakespeare said, to unpathed waters, undreamed shores. To Torquay, a holiday resort of kindly climate and varied pleasures. Not the least of those pleasures is to hire a dinghy or charter a yacht and explore the Devonshire coast from Torquay, Paignton, Brixham and Teignmouth. Torquay has always been a favoured place for yachtsmen, free as Torbay is from currents and general shipping routes. From all over Britain, dinghies come here by road and yachts sail here for the summer regattas, highly organised affairs in which the most skilled of yachtsmen like the Duke of Edinburgh compete for national and international honours. Because of the hills around Torquay, the winds are variable and tricky to navigate, making the yachting interesting, calling for particular skill. All the yachts today are of the Dragon class, the class to which the Duke of Edinburgh's yacht Bluebottle belongs. Small Bermuda-rigged racing sloops they are, about 30 feet long and capable of speeds up to 7 knots. This Dragon, with a spinnaker set, is running before the wind and drawing well, as the yachtsmen say, when there's plenty of wind puffing out the sails. Few ships can compete with these for grace and line. Here on the water is man-made, lovingly fashioned beauty. Here's an example of reaching, sailing half against the wind and half before it. The fastest way to get along if you can pick up a nice breeze. For the visitor with a taste for a lovely sight or sport, the yachting at Torbay must rank with the best of Britain's attractions, at one of her loveliest resorts.